Hello, in this video, I'm going to show you how to use the rectangular pattern tool in Fusion 360. It can be pretty helpful to cut down on a lot of work. Definitely a time-saving tool. So let's start by creating a hole, and then I'll show you how to make a pattern of holes. So as usual, we create a sketch point for a hole. So let's put that point right here. I'll dimension it from the datum over 1.5 inches, 1.5. And from the datum up, the hole is going to be 1 inch. Nice simple numbers, easy. Okay, finish that. I'm going to put a hole in here now. I'm going to make that distance all, the through hole. And, for our purposes, 187 thousandths is fine. Doesn't matter to me. All right, so now let's say I want to create some sort of a pattern of a bunch of holes. Instead of making all separate points, right, over and over and over again, it takes a lot of time to do that. We can use what's called a rectangular pattern. So it says here, duplicates faces, bodies, features, or components in a design and distributes them along linear axes in rows and columns to create rectangular patterns. All right, so we got to make sure we select the correct object type, and then we give it some dimensions, and it will make those patterns for us. So let's do this. Click on regular pattern or click create pattern, rectangular pattern. All right, first thing we see in the rectangular pattern window here is the type, and we're already on rectangular, so that's good. The object type is defaults to bodies, but we want to change that to features. A hole is a feature on a part, right? Anything in the bottom timeline here is a feature. So it says select objects. I'm going to go right down here to my timeline and click that hole. So it selected that hole. It wants us to select an axis. My first axis I want to select is along the X this way. So click on select, and then just click any horizontal line. Doesn't matter which one. Okay. So the next thing that comes up after axis is distribution. You can either have it the extent or spacing. It defaults to extent, but I always use spacing because normally that's how designs are done. That's the space between each feature. It also defaults to 3, but we can have as many holes as we want. All right. I'll put it up to 6, and then I got to give it a distance. What's that spacing going to be? And I'll put 0.3, see what happens. So you can see what's going on here. Automatically, it made all these holes. So I can just keep adding holes over and over again if I feel like it. All right. And that's kind of cool. But here's where it gets even better. If I go this way and drag this down, I can also do spacing along the y-axis and change that to whatever I want as far as the spacing goes. Right. So you can see how quickly you can do a lot of holes. All right. Um, so you just got to make sure you start with one axis, and then you can pull the other arrow down to go on another axis, and change your spacing, change your amount of holes, and before you know it, you got a lot of holes going through this thing. All right. But I think you'll find this pretty powerful tool. Certainly, it's a time saver using a rectangular pattern.